All right, so welcome back again. Last session we put the canopy on. Now I'm gonna just want to be pretty quick. I'm sure short video on the battery hatch. How do I make the latch? So what you got to do is you want to make sure that you have, obviously, in this case, the way it's designed. This battery mount is designed, or this battery hatch is it has a little tongue on it. You can see there's a little tongue made of 1/64 plywood. I also edged this with 00 carbon just to make it really rigid and keep it from being dented and banged up. You know, the battery covers take a beating. You know, it's one of those things that gets taken on and off the plane, you know, in my case, 500-600 times. All right, so it goes in, it just goes in like so, right? And now we're going to be putting the hatch on so we can just put a latch in that holds it in place and then pop the latch. What I like to do is, you know, just from a standpoint, I like to put the latch, I like to be able to lock it in forward and put the latch in the back, just because then air won't go in and try to open it. You can put the latch up here, but my fear is always that air may get in and distort it, push it open. All right. So now the trick is where do we put this latch so that it works properly? This latch travels about 3/8 of an inch. So therefore it can't have more than 3/8 of an inch hanging over the edge. And you know, right about there, you can see that's probably about 3/8 of an inch. And when I fully withdraw it, if you look, it goes completely behind the latch just about. All right, so we'll fit that in. We do got to do some minor sanding to get it right where we want it. You don't want it too loose, and you don't want to have to struggle to get it out, right? It'll make it easy in and out. And I'll just sand up some. So small machinist rules is always very good for this, to be able to help measure stuff out, get it where you want it. Now, so I measure from the back to the front. That's about an inch. You know, about where I'm going to put is right about there. All right. So what I like to do to make clean holes is I'll use a piece of tubing on this piece here. Let me just get a right size piece. Okay, perfect. I use a block of wood, and what I do is, I mean, it's a small piece, but I'll do is sharpen it. Sharpen an inside edge on it, using it exactly, just rolling my fingers on it until you get a sharp edge here. I'm going to push it in and just twist. Just drill it almost. Nice clean hole. All right, so I know this thing travels 3/8 of an inch. So I put it where I mount it and I push it back. I mark that area where I'm going to cut it out. And same process, put it right in line with it. And just got to cut through the fiberglass here. Okay. 2 holes, and now I'll just cut the slot. Alright, so that's it. It's just about perfect. Line it up. And what I'll do is I will tack glue this with CA to get it, make sure I got it where I want it, and then I will put some epoxy over it just to merely make sure, because it's plastic, and you know CA doesn't hold plastic the greatest, but it does work. Be careful not to glue the cylinder in place. I've done that. So just a touch of glue, kind of hold it in place. Okay. All right, let's see. All right, see, lines up good, right? That's what I want, but I got a little bit of play, right? So I have to take up that space on the inside of the fuselage, right, to allow the bolt to really pull it in tight. But that works. See, it comes right out. Yep. So on the inside, I'm going to add, start out with a 64th, and I'll just keep adding until I get it to where I want it, until I get it tight enough. Scissors. So about a 1/4 inch strip of it, you know, make it about that wide. What we'll do is just put a touch of glue on it, just a little CA on it, just to kind of tack it in place. A little challenging to get it in. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not left-handed. All right, we'll just let that dry for a second. That's a pretty good fit up. And that's it. Perfect, just about perfect fit up for me. That piece of 64 took up the slack in there. And yet, again, I treated the edge. You can see it, if you look, it's black 007 carbon that's glued or a C8 all the way around, which really just adds a lot of rigidity and keeps it pretty much from getting banged up and dented. Around this edge, right, because this is another area, I have 1/64 plywood, and what I'll do is put some thick CA on the Q-tip and just kind of seal the edges of the wood, giving it a little bit of hardness. All right, so that's the battery hatch. All right, so some of the next steps, which I'm going to get to maybe later on today, hopefully. Hopefully I'll get some time to video it. You know, some of the things I'm going to do is I got to put the rudder fin on I'll show you how I do that, how I align that. Again, another critical piece, really got to be right. So I got some some tools to help me with it, and then really your eyes looking at it. You know, again, everything is it look perfectly perpendicular to the stab. You know, and again, I'm always eyeballing to make sure I got it right, make sure nothing moves. Because as you glue things, sometimes you got to be careful. You know, when I glue the bottom seam in, I got to be careful I'm not squeezing it in this way or that way, and it could affect the stab. So constantly looking at this, really this alignment too, just to make sure that the center lines are parallel. All right, so hopefully you got something out of that, and we'll talk later. Thanks.